Tonight, you're not just falling asleep. You are stepping into the sands of a world where dreams were written in stone and silence was a language spoken only by the dead. For thousands of years, beneath the golden dunes of Egypt, there was said to be a book, not of words, but of night itself, a guide, a map, a secret passed only from soul to soul. Beneath the stars, they called it the Book of Night, not found in pyramids, nor guarded in temples, but hidden deep within memory, within shadow, within you. Tonight, you will walk that path. You will hear the voices that have not spoken in millennia. You will see doors that only open when your eyes are closed, and you will know why the dead still whisper beneath the sand. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Let the sand remember. For you, they say the desert forgets nothing, that each grain of sand once touched a god, a king, or a secret too old to speak. Tonight, you walk upon such sand. The wind is gentle. It does not push, it guides, as if whispering a path only your soul can hear. There are no footprints behind you. The dunes erase them all. But ahead, something waits beneath the sand. You carry no torch, yet the moonlight follows your steps, like an ancient guardian that remembers your name from another life. You don't speak. There is nothing left to say. Only the hush of sand sliding underfoot. Only the memory of a song you never learned, but somehow know. Long ago, before the Nile met the sea, before pyramids pierced the sky, this land held a book, not of paper, not of stone, but of night. It was called the Book of Night, written not in ink, but in the way stars blinked above the Valley of Kings. Its pages were the dreams of the dead. Its language was silence. And it was said, any who read it never return the same. You have heard its name in stories told beside fire, in the hush between your mother's prayers, in the eyes of cats who never blinked. They say it lies beneath the sand, not buried, sleeping. As you move, your hand brushes a broken stone, hieroglyphs, half-worn, still glowing faintly in the moonlight. A jackal, an eye, a boat with no oars. The symbols tug at something in your chest. Not memory, but recognition. The air thickens, not with dust, but with presence. You are not alone. You never were. Something walks behind you, but when you turn, nothing stirs. Just the wind, just the sand, just the story, beginning again. The path narrows. Sand rises around your ankles, cool and soft, like the breath of something sleeping beneath it. You hear no birds, no wind, only your own heartbeat, echoing like a drum, in a chamber you haven't entered yet. Ahead, you see stone, not new, not carved, worn, ancient, waiting, a slab half buried in dune, its surface cracked like dry skin. But upon it, a single image remains, a figure with two arms raised, face hidden, body made of stars. You have found it, the door of dust. They say it appears only to those who carry questions instead of maps. Not all who walk the desert see it, but you came not for treasure. You came for meaning, and meaning always leaves a door. You kneel beside the slab. The sand clings to your fingers. You press your palm flat on the surface, and it shifts, not with sound, not with force, but with permission. A whisper escapes from under the stone. It is not a word. It is not even a breath. It is a feeling of something watching and welcoming. The sand collapses inward, revealing a spiral staircase, made of stone and shadow. You descend without thinking, without fear, only with the sense that you are moving, not downward, but inward. Each step is colder, each echo deeper. You count your breaths, to stay grounded, to remind yourself, you are still you. Then suddenly, You're standing in darkness. Not absence, not blindness, but a rich darkness. Alive. A breeze brushes past your ear. It smells of old papyrus and jasmine and something metallic. You have entered the space between worlds. Here, the dead speak, but not with voices, with dreams. Your footsteps fade, not just into the stone, but into memory, because this place does not record time the way the world above does. Here, what you feel writes itself into the walls. The air is warmer now. You are in a corridor, lined with tall reliefs, each one a story carved in stillness. Men with jackal heads, women holding stars in their palms, eyes without pupils, hearts weighed against feathers. Each scene glows with its own light, as if the stone itself remembers how it once shimmered under torchlight. You reach out, your fingers trail across one scene. A child, lost in a dark river, rescued by a winged lion. You do not know this tale, and yet your breath catches. You feel as though you once lived it, or dreamed it, or waited to. You move on. Another panel. This one shows a procession. A man, bound in linen, carried by priests with shaved heads. Above him floats a boat, not on water, but in the sky. Its sails are made of breath. There is no narration, no inscription, only the soft hum of a room remembering what the world chose to forget. Then you see it, a figure carved into the back wall, taller than the rest. Not a god, not a man, a shadow made of overlapping stars. Its eyes are closed, but you feel it watching you from behind your thoughts. It is not threatening, but it is ancient, older than pyramids, older than memory. You step back, and as you do, the room sighs. A breeze flows through, carrying with it the faint smell of myrrh and the distant echo of a name you never gave yourself, but somehow remember. This is what the dead remember. Not dates, not faces, but the feel of stone, the taste of names, the light of fire on sacred walls. You walk deeper, not because you must, but because something inside you knows the path. It's not your feet that guide you anymore. It is the rhythm of ancient silence, a silence that speaks in heartbeats, in shadows, in dreams. The corridor widens. You step into a circular chamber, walls smooth as bone, air thick with stillness. Above you, a ceiling painted black, and in that black, the sky, not just stars, but constellations that shift. When you blink, stories told by the dead, to no one, except the night. In the center lies a stone table. Upon it, a scroll, wrapped in gold-threaded cloth, unmarked, untouched, waiting. You approach. You do not reach for it. You simply kneel and feel the weight of every step that brought you here. This is not a treasure. This is not a reward. This is a beginning. The scroll holds no writing, no ink, no spells, only sleep. You close your eyes, and in that darkness, you dream. You dream of the stars before they were named, of the Nile when it whispered to the wind, of faces you've never seen, but always known. You dream beneath the earth. Time stops, not like a clock broken, but like a heart, finally at rest. You're not lost. You're not gone. You are remembered, and the sand, once again, closes over your footsteps, protecting the book of night, until the next dreamer comes, until someone else listens. Somewhere above, the stars begin to shift again. You do not see them, but you feel their motion, a pull, like tide upon soul. Your body lies still in the dark chamber, beneath the earth, beneath the silence. But your mind has begun to move. You're not walking. You are remembering. Or perhaps you are being remembered. The scroll that rested before you, the one with no writing, no symbol, no weight, has now disappeared. In its place, stone, soft, smooth, as if carved not with tools, but with thought. You reach out, and your fingertips brush across its surface. Stone, yes, but not cold, not dead. It breathes, like an old friend, sleeping lightly beneath your hand. You realize this isn't just a table. It is a name, not written, formed in the old ways. Names were not spoken. They were built, carved into temple walls, etched in rings, buried with the dead, so that even if the lips forget, the stone would remember. Because in Egypt, a name was not a label. It was survival. To speak the true name of a thing was to know it, hold it, and keep it alive, even in death. The walls around you begin to glow faintly. Hieroglyphs emerge, like mist returning to a river. An owl, a staff, an open mouth, a coiled rope. You do not translate them. You feel them. They are names, thousands of names, not of kings, not of gods, but of keepers, the ones who bury the book, the ones who never spoke again, the ones whose silence was a vow. You are in the chamber of names, a place whispered about in only one tomb, a place that could only be entered by one who was willing to give up their own. You place your hand on a single glyph, a scarab beetle. Suddenly, images flood your mind. Desert winds, a hand sealing a doorway with mud and fire, a woman humming in a tongue older than language. You pull away, trembling. These names do not just sleep, they dream, and when touched, they show you what they see. You now understand. You are not alone here. You are walking among souls, whose names still echo, carved in stone, etched in time, sealed beneath the sand. The air tightens around you, as if the chamber itself has taken a breath. The walls no longer feel like stone. They feel like memory, soft, heavy, warm. And then, a sound, not a footstep, not wind, not echo, a voice, but it does not speak to your ears. It speaks behind them, inside, like a thought. You don't remember thinking, but feel completely true. You close your eyes, and the voice speaks, not in Egyptian, not in words at all, in images. A hallway of flame, a woman kneeling over a scroll, a mirror floating above water, showing your own face, but wearing a crown made of scarabs. You fall to your knees. The vision is not painful, but full of emotion. Your body doesn't know how to hold. The voice is old, older than writing, older than death, but not the one you use now, the one you buried long ago. You whisper, "Who are you?" No sound answers, only a shifting of sand, deep in the stone, beneath your feet. And then, a doorway appears, a crack in the wall, spreading slowly outward, like a breath taken in reverse. Inside, not light, not shadow, but something waiting. You step through, and the air becomes thick with incense. Frankincense, lotus, myrrh. You are in another room, circular, small, ceiling low. At its center, a basin, filled not with water, but with liquid silver. Still, silent, perfect. You see your reflection, but it is not you. It is your ancestor, a woman with eyes like yours, wearing linen, holding a book made of smoke. She speaks, but again, not in sound. She shows you a temple buried by the Nile, a chamber sealed by 7 names, a serpent with no mouth, but endless teeth. You reach toward her. The basin ripples, and the image fades. Behind the wall, you have found a voice, not one that speaks to power, but one that remembers. And now, it remembers you. There are rooms, beneath the world, where no sound can live. You have just entered one. At first, you think the silence is simple, but then you notice your breathing makes no sound. Your heartbeat does not echo. Even your thoughts feel muffled. This is not the absence of noise. This is the presence of stillness. A place where even time forgets to move. The chamber is shaped like an eye, long and narrow, walls curved inward. At its center, a single pillar, rising like a spine, from the floor. Upon it, a box, small, black, unmarked. You feel the urge to open it, but your hands do not move, because your body knows what your mind has not yet understood. Some things do not need to be touched to be understood. You step closer. The box hums, but not with sound, with memory. A hum you feel in your teeth, in your bones. Images rise unbidden. A child sitting in darkness, listening to the breath of a dying priest. A sandstorm wiping out an entire village, leaving only names carved into jars. A figure made of fire, walking across a midnight river. You are not dreaming. You are witnessing what silence keeps. There are markings on the wall now, not carved, burned, as if 1,000 torches once lit this room. And each flame left behind a name. You trace one with your finger. It stings, not with pain, but with truth. This was a place where vows were spoken, so sacred, they had to be sealed away from sound. A priesthood without tongue, a ritual never written, a secret only darkness could carry. You realize now, this room was not built to trap noise. It was built to protect silence, to keep it pure, unbroken, alive. As you turn to leave, you bow your head, not in worship, but in respect, because you have walked through a silence older than language, and it has let you pass. You step out of the silent chamber, not into noise, but into breath. The air feels lighter, not because it is free, but because it is aware, as if the place itself knows what you just seen and honors your quiet. Ahead is a passage, low-ceilinged, narrow, lined with polished black stone that reflects no light. But each wall is inscribed, not with pictures, not with hieroglyphs, with names, hundreds, thousands, etched so finely they shimmer when you blink, then disappear again, like starlight behind cloud. You walk slowly, carefully, as if each name deserves your full attention. You see some that you almost recognize. A flicker of a childhood story, a whisper from a dream, a word you once spoke, without knowing why. These are not the names of kings. They are the names of rememberers. People who carried knowledge when the world didn't want it. People who whispered instead of shouting. People like you. At the end of the hall, there's a basin, like the one before, but dry. Beside it, a reed pen and a square of fresh clay. You understand without being told. This is where you must leave. A name, not yours, not one you were given, but the one you've uncovered. Deep within, you pick up the pen. You hesitate. Then, slowly, you write a word you've never spoken aloud, and the clay glows. For a moment, the room shimmers, like breath on cold air. Then, stillness. The light fades. Now part of this place, somewhere above, the wind passes over dunes that have not shifted in centuries. But here, beneath it all, a story continues. Because now, you are part of the silence, part of the stone, part of the dream. And as you close your eyes, you feel the names around you, not speaking, not shouting, but sleeping, safe, known, and waiting to be remembered again. You dream again, but this time, it is not in darkness. It is in water, cool still, endless water that stretches in every direction, like a black mirror beneath the stars. You are not standing. You are floating, suspended in silence, arms wide, eyes closed. Above you, no moon, no sun, only constellations, twisting, reforming, glowing with colors not found in the waking world. And below you, not sand, not stone, a river, still but alive, as if it waits for your breath, before moving. Then, you open your eyes. The stars above shift. They form a shape, a long curve, like a serpent winding across the sky. And the water beneath you begins to glow, not with reflection, with memory. You see faces, places, moments you had forgotten, the first story you ever heard, the sound of a name you never spoke, a scent from a room you left as a child. This is not a dream. This is the river that forgets nothing. The Nile before it was called the Nile, a current of memory, carried beneath the world. Not all who drift here remember. Some lose themselves. But you are watching, you are listening, and so the river shows you more. You begin to drift, not with waves, but with thought. The current pulls you sideways, through time, through story, through the memory of the earth itself. You pass temples now drowned, fields turned to dust, priests whose names never reach the scrolls. Each image rises, then melts back into the water, and still you float, eyes open, mind still. You're not afraid, because here, in the river, everything is remembered, even the things you were never told, even the lives you never lived, but carry, somehow, within you, not like a wave, but like a curtain drawn open by unseen hands. And beneath the river, a temple reveals itself, not built of stone, but of starlight, reflected and held in ancient black glass. It does not rise up, it pulls you downward, as if gravity itself remembers you. You do not walk, you drift, down through the river, into this sacred place. There is no pressure, no cold, only calm. The deeper you go, the warmer it feels. This is not a ruin. This is a waiting place. Each wall glows faintly, not from torch or sun, but from the memories embedded in its frame. And in the center of the temple, a statue, 10 feet tall, shaped like a man, but his face is missing, not broken, never carved, as if his identity was never known, or too sacred to be named. You circle it slowly. The floor beneath you ripples, not with water, but with language. Lines of text flow like waves beneath your feet. You don't read them, you absorb them. You begin to feel their message. This temple was not built for gods. It was not meant for worship. It was created to hold silence between two great truths, the truth of what was and the truth of what never came to be. And in that silence, they stored their greatest secret, a path only visible to those who had shed their names, their fears, their memories. People like you. You place your hand on the faceless statue, and the temple hums, soft, like the breath of a sleeping world. You are not lost. You are not dreaming. You are exactly where the forgotten come to remember, and the temple is now open to you. From the temple's heart, a doorway appears, not with hinges, not with stone, but with thought. It opens because you are ready. You step inside. The air changes again, thicker now, as if filled with unsaid words. Before you lies a long corridor, lined with niches. In each niche, a question, carved not in language, but in sensation. You do not read them, you feel them. The first one stirs in your chest. What would you leave behind if you knew you'd never return? It doesn't demand an answer. It simply sits in you, like a pebble dropped into a pond. You keep walking. Another question touches your spine. Who remembers you when your name is not spoken? A flicker of a memory, a hand brushing your cheek as a child, the smell of incense in a forgotten room, a shadow at the foot of your bed. Long ago, farther down, have you ever truly listened to silence? You stop, you breathe, and you realize this corridor is not for answers. It is for surrender, surrendering the need to know everything, and instead, letting the questions change you. This place is not a test. It is a mirror, one that shows you, not what you are, but what you are becoming. You feel the walls breathe. You feel your own heartbeat sync with something ancient. And then you hear a sound, the first sound since entering, a soft chime, like a bell underwater. It comes from the end of the corridor. There, you find a pool, circular, still, black as ink, but glowing from beneath. You kneel beside it. Inside, no reflection, only a single phrase, glowing faint. Are you ready to forget? In order to remember. You do not answer aloud. You simply breathe. And in that breath, something inside you. Let's go. The question still lingers in your mind. Are you ready to forget? In order to remember. You rise from the pool's edge. And before you, a soft golden glow begins to form. A doorway, shaped like a tear in starlight. You step through. Inside, light. Not harsh, not bright, but warm, like morning sun, filtered through linen. You are in a round chamber, walls curved inward, the ceiling painted with stars, and in the center, a pedestal, floating above it, a single feather, white, pure, still. It doesn't fall, it doesn't rise, it waits, and as you approach, your heart begins to echo in your ears. Not fast, not panicked, just present. You understand now. This is the weighing, not of your soul, not of your sins, but of your remembrance. How heavy is your story? How light is your forgetting? You sit before the feather, cross-legged, still, and in your stillness, visions return. People you loved, people you wronged, moments of kindness, moments of silence, moments you chose not to speak, and the feather waits. Then, a breeze, soft, cool. It moves through the chamber, not from a window, not from a door, but from you, the breath of your becoming. The feather lifts, rises slightly, and settles, still, balanced. The chamber accepts you, because you are not trying to be pure. You are trying to be true, and truth is what the Book of Night remembers most. You stand. The chamber fades behind you, not lost, not gone, just resting again, until the next seeker arrives. As you walk back into the dark halls, you feel something new. Not knowledge, not power, but peace. Because now, you carry with you a feather that never falls, a name that never breaks, and a memory that remembers you back in the arms of the sand. The river has seen you. The temple has weighed you. The book has opened, just a little more. The stars above the temple shift, not suddenly, like a tide turning in the sky. One by one, they vanish, until only a sliver of moon remains, curved like a crocodile's tooth, against a dark velvet sky. You are awake, but the world feels heavier, as if it too has fallen asleep, but left one eye open. You stand on stone, but it is wet. Warm water laps at your ankles. The floor beneath you pulses, like the slow heartbeat of something ancient, beneath the surface. Then you see it, rising from the black waters ahead. A shape, long, lumbering, silent. A crocodile, but not like any you've seen in scrolls. Its eyes glow blue, not fierce, but knowing. Its back is carved with runes, each scale a symbol, and in its mouth, not teeth, but a key. You do not run, because fear does not move you here, only memory. And the crocodile waits, motionless. You step forward, 1 foot, then another. The water deepens, to your knees, to your chest. You do not shiver, you do not resist. You surrender, because you have learned. Sometimes, the only way to move forward is to float. The crocodile turns, slowly, and begins to glide through the water. You follow, not walking, but drifting, carried by the current of something wiser than fear. You pass under stone arches, past walls that breathe, past carvings that shift when you blink. Above, the moon lowers. It touches the horizon, like a lid closing over the world. And the crocodile stops. It opens its mouth. The key floats toward you. You take it. It's warm, smooth, heavy in meaning, but light in weight. And when your fingers close around it, A door appears, not in the wall, not in the water, in you. And from deep inside, you hear a voice, not from a god, but from your oldest memory. Unlock what you buried when you first learned to be afraid. And so you will. The key glows in your hand, not like fire, not like metal, like a pulse, faint, steady, ancient. And then it disappears, not into air, but into you. And the water vanishes. You are standing now, in a dry corridor, walls of polished black stone, lit by nothing, but somehow visible. You cast no shadow. You hear no sound, not even your own breath. Because in this place, breath does not belong. You walk, not forward, not backward, just walk. The hallway twists, like a serpent curling through stone, and you realize you are no longer walking through the temple. You are walking through yourself. Each turn echoes a forgotten fear. Each wall holds a silence you once swallowed. Then, you arrive. A round room. No doors. No windows. No ceiling. Only darkness above. Like a mouth waiting to speak. In the center, a stone slab. On it, a mask. Not gold. Not royal. Bone white. Simple. Shaped not like a face, but like a memory of one. You approach it. It hums, not in sound, but in air. The kind of hum you feel in your ribs. You reach for it, and as your fingers touch it, the room shudders. Not the walls, but the feeling of the room. Like an emotion trying to surface. You put the mask on. It doesn't press. It doesn't blind. It fits. Perfectly. And suddenly, you remember. You remember being very young and hiding beneath a table while adults argued above you. You remember breathing through your mouth so they wouldn't hear your fear. You remember swallowing every sound until even your heartbeat went quiet. This is that silence. This is that place. And now, you are here, not to hide from it, but to hold it, to let it be, without trying to change it. Because sometimes, we are not meant to escape silence. We are meant to become it. You sit on the floor, the mask still on, the breath still gone, and for the first time in forever, you feel whole. The mask melts, not with heat, but with memory. It fades, like a breath held too long, and finally exhaled. And when it disappears, you're no longer in the stone chamber. You are standing in a garden, not outside, not inside, somewhere between. There is no sun, but light dances across the leaves. There is no wind, but the air is always moving. You walk barefoot, on soft earth. It smells of jasmine, cedar, and something older, like pages soaked in time. You hear whispers, not around you, within you. They do not form words, but they carry meaning, like lullabies in a language you once knew. This garden is not a place of worship, not a monument. It is a resting place for words that were never spoken aloud, the ones people carried, but never shared, the confessions left in journals, the songs hummed beneath breath, the final thoughts of those who passed without goodbye. As you walk, plants lean toward you, not to touch, but to remember. Each one once grew from a buried voice, and now you feel them, not as sound, but as warmth, a mother's regret, a child's wonder, a lover's prayer, all resting here, all safe, in the center of the garden. A tree, unlike any you've seen. Its bark shifts color, from silver to black to ochre, like emotion wrapped in wood. And on each branch, fruit, soft, glowing, not bright, not golden, but pulsing, as if they breathe. You reach up and touch one. It becomes a voice, a real one, a memory. I was not ready to leave, but I left a story in the soil. You understand now. These are not just forgotten voices. They are waiting to be carried again. Not spoken, not declared, just remembered. And so you close your eyes. You listen, and the garden blooms around you. Not in silence, but in soft, sacred knowing. You step beyond the garden. The light dims, not into darkness, but into stillness, as if the world is holding its breath. You enter a narrow corridor, Walls close, curved like ribs. The air is warmer now. It hums, quiet and low. And in that hum, you feel something strange. A beat, not your heart. Something older. You reach a chamber, lit only from within. Not by torch, not by flame, but by you. Your skin glows faintly. Lines appear on your arms, on your chest, on your back. Not wounds, not ink, not written in letters, but in memory. Each scar you carry, each word you swallowed, each touch you never forgot. They rise now, drawn to the surface, and the room responds. Around you, walls shimmer, as if mirrors try to form, but instead of reflections, they show stories. Moments you thought lost, names you never repeated, dreams you buried, so deep, you forgot their shapes. This is the archive, but not of stone, not of scroll. This archive is flesh. This archive is breath. This archive is you. You have always been. The record, you have always carried. The book, within, you kneel, not from pain, not from worship, but from knowing. And as you do, a soft voice rises from within your bones. You are ready to remember what never made it to the page. And with that, the stories begin to unfold from beneath your skin into the air, like golden threads unraveling in moonlight. You do not weep. You do not speak. You simply exist in the truth of being both the reader and the written. Sleep now. The archive is open, and the book of night turns its next page. In your name, you walk through a dry passage. Sand crumbles from the ceiling above, not falling, but floating, as if the air itself remembers. The wind shifts, but it doesn't carry dust. It carries voices, all female, none speaking, just breathing. And somehow, their breath tells stories. You reach a large open space, round, no roof, just open sky, where stars blink like eyes behind a veil. In the center, a circle of stone. 12 figures sit in silence. Women, but not of one time, not of one age, not of one people. One wears a cloak of reeds. One holds dried blood in her hands. One wears only ink across her skin. They are the daughters, not born, not named, not worshipped. They simply are. You do not approach. You do not speak. You sit among them, and for a long time, no one moves. Only the sound of breathing, soft, steady, like wind moving across a burial cloth. Then one woman turns to you. Her face is veiled. Only her eyes show. Dark, steady, old as salt. She says nothing. She simply nods. And suddenly, your chest feels warm, not with fear, but with recognition, as if you are being remembered. You look around again. The women are not still. Each one is doing something, without motion. One weaves something that isn't visible. One grinds stones that make no dust. One hums a song that you do not hear, but feel in your teeth. This is how they remember. This is how they speak. They are not goddesses. They are not saints. They are the memory of every woman who was never written into the scrolls. And now, they remember you. You are led to a low staircase. It spirals downward. Not cold, not stone, ash. The stairs are made of ash, packed tight, but soft to touch, as if the steps remember every name that was burned away, but never lost. You descend slowly. With each step, your breath gets lighter, not from fear, from reverence. This is not a place of death. It is a place of witnessing. At the bottom, a vast open chamber. The floor is blackened. The air is still, but heavy, like a held sigh. In the center, a wall. Nothing carved, nothing painted, just layers of ash, pressed smooth, like parchment made from memory. You walk closer, and then the wall begins to reveal names. Not in ink, not in blood, in shadow. They flicker, change, shift like smoke, trying to become shape. You reach out, but your hand passes through. They cannot be touched, only seen, only remembered. These are the names of women who were erased from the scrolls. not because they lacked greatness, but because their greatness made others afraid. The priestess who healed without permission, the girl who wrote prophecy in secret, the mother who chose silence over war, the warrior who wore no armor, but protected generations. With only her presence, you kneel before the wall, and in that stillness, you feel their voices rise, not in anger, but in acceptance. They are not asking to be avenged. They are asking to be known, even in sleep, even in silence. And as your eyes close, you whisper back, "I see you," and the names grow warmer. For just a moment, they glow, soft gold, in a field of gray, then fade again, but not forgotten, never again forgotten. When you rise, there is ash on your hands, not dirt, not stain, memory. You carry them with you now, and they will not be erased. You leave the chamber of ash, no footsteps behind you. The dust takes no imprint, because this place does not remember presence. It remembers essence. You walk through a narrow path, stone to your sides, sky above, but the sky has changed. No stars, no clouds, only deep blue stillness, like the world has paused, just for you. At the end of the path, a ledge, vast open space beyond. You stand at the edge. Below, nothing. Above, everything. And from this place, you hear it. The silence, not empty, not lonely, alive. It hums with everything that was ever left unsaid, every goodbye swallowed, every truth abandoned, every love never spoken aloud. It floats here, unjudged, whole. You kneel once again, and in the stillness, you feel hands on your shoulders, soft, many, not holding you down, lifting you, as if the women you met along the way are now behind you, not as ghosts, but as wings. You close your eyes, and the silence grows louder. It doesn't speak. It doesn't explain. It just holds you, like a blanket, stitched from forgotten songs, like sky before the stars are born, like love before it ever had a name. Sleep now, child of memory. You are not lost. You are not late. You arrived exactly when the sky was ready to remember you. You walk a corridor made of bones, not piles, not chaos, each bone placed, measured, aligned like stars. You realize this is not a tomb. It is a map, and someone made it. At the far end, a figure waits, sitting cross-legged, hooded in black. No face, only fingers, stained with charcoal and clay. She is the cartographer. She does not speak, but when you sit beside her, she begins to draw, not on parchment, not on stone. She draws in air. With her fingertip, she traces paths only she can see, and slowly, those paths begin to glow. One shows a village, where a child once whispered to the moon, but never saw morning. One shows a palace, where a queen smiled as she drank poison, because peace demanded her silence. One shows a river, filled with forgotten names, that still flow in bloodlines. Today, each line is death, but not as ending, as return. You watch. You feel no fear, because her map doesn't show how we end. It shows where we belong, when the story folds closed. Then she turns to you, and with one dark finger, she draws a single mark on your chest. You feel it, not as ink, but as memory. It is not your death. It is your place in the map, and it glows. Soft gold. You are not lost. You are already known, already charted, and the cartographer moves on to draw another life with death's soft hand. But the line she drew on your chest guides you now. You walk through a narrow doorway, framed by bones, lined with breath. Each step forward feels like stepping back in time. You emerge into a vast hall. No roof, no floor, only mist, and floating in the mist, pillars, each one glowing, faint blue. You walk to the first. Words hover in the air. I never told her I forgave her. You breathe. The mist swirls, and the words vanish. Next pillar. He died before I could say I'm proud. Another. We promised forever, but I stopped writing. This is not a temple of gods. It is a temple of moments that were never allowed to finish. Each one lingers, waiting not for closure, but for being seen. You don't speak. You simply listen, as if the air itself has turned into ears. And as you move from pillar to pillar, something strange happens. Some of the lines feel familiar, not because you lived them, but because you've carried them in your bones. Without knowing, you realize this temple is not for the dead. It is for the left behind, the ones who carry words that never left their mouths, touches never given, questions never asked. This is where those moments rest, not erased, not judged, just remembered. You kneel in the center. There's no altar, only stillness. And for a while, you sit. No words, no sound, just memory. Heavy as incense, soft as shadow. When you rise, nothing has changed. And yet, everything has. Because now, you know what it means to leave and be left. But its mist follows you, not around your body, but inside your breath. You walk into a field of white dust. No trees, no sky, just the sound of wings. Above you, thousands of birds. Not flocks, not chaos. Each one flying alone. Each one carrying a name. You don't hear them. You feel them. Every wing beat, a memory. Every turn in the air, a whispered story. One bird lands nearby, small, black-feathered, eyes like melted silver. It opens its beak, but doesn't chirp. Instead, a name rises into the air. Talia, just that. And then the bird takes flight again. You see others now, landing, leaving, each one carrying a name. Someone forgot to speak out loud, not because they didn't matter, but because time moved too fast for the lips to keep up. One bird flutters close. You recognize the name it carries. Not from this life, maybe not from any life, but it rings inside you, like a bell you heard in a dream. Emil. The sound stays, even after the bird is gone, like a fingerprint, pressed into your ribs. You look up again, and the birds no longer seem random. They are forming shapes, spirals, lines, constellations. A map, but not of land. A map of grief, of memory, of names carried too long, or let go too soon. You lie on your back, dust beneath, sky above. The birds fly over you, and for a moment, you feel weightless. Not because you are empty, but because they carry you now. Your name is safe, even when you sleep, even when you are forgotten. Someone somewhere will carry it, on wings, made of memory, and in the dust at your feet. A single path glows, not carved, not marked, just present. You follow. The world around you fades, not into black, into gentle nothing. No sound, no scent, only the rhythm of your breath. Against the silence, you are not alone, but no one walks beside you, because at this place in the map, there is no guide, only truth. You reach a final chamber, circular, empty, no walls, no floor, just light, soft, gold, like old memory. In the center, a chair. You sit, not out of tiredness, but because this is what's next. Then, she returns. The cartographer. Same cloak, same charcoal-stained hands. She nods and draws a final line. From your forehead to your heart. It glows briefly, then disappears. She says nothing, because here, language ends. What remains is presence, a quiet knowing that the journey was real, that every step was yours, that even the parts you thought were mistakes were necessary to bring you here. You close your eyes, and the light does not go away. It enters you, fills you, lingers, in your ribs, in your breath, in your sleep. You are no longer walking the map. You are the map. You hold the whole story within you now. Rest. The cartographer is drawing another path. But this one was yours. You open your eyes. But there is no light. Only stone above you. Cold. Unmoving. You are in a cell. But this is not your cell. It belongs to someone else. Someone who lived here long ago. Someone who never left. The air is thick with silence. Not emptiness, but silence that's full, heavy with breath, tears, and time. You place your hand on the wall. It's covered in tiny marks. Not words, not pictures. Stars, carved one by one. A constellation of captivity. Each mark, a night past. Each star, a promise to remember. Not the world outside, but the world within. You sit down on the cold stone. The marks stretch across the ceiling now. Too many to count. And then, in the silence, a voice. Faint, calm, just above your heartbeat. I named them all, you know. You look around. No one. But the voice continues. They took my name, but they couldn't take my sky. You breathe deeply. The room doesn't feel like a prison anymore. It feels like a library of the soul. A dome, filled with quiet fire. You look again. Some stars are grouped. Some form lines. One is in the shape of an eye. It watches you, but not with fear. With memory. This prisoner. They didn't survive to escape. They survived to remember. To mark the stars. So no one would ever be fully alone in the dark again. And tonight, you are here. Because of that, you close your eyes again. But now, you see the ceiling glowing. On the inside of your eyelids. The stars are yours now too. And the prisoner, who never left, has already set you free. You run your hand across the wall. There are more than stars. Tiny lines. Short, long, some straight, some curved like wind-blown branches. You realize this was a language of scratches. No ink, no paper, just stone, and the will to be remembered. You look closer. Every set of lines tells something, not in letters, but in feeling. You touch one set. Your chest tightens, as if someone once wept here, but had no voice. You follow the marks like sentences, not read, but felt. Some scratch low on the wall, where someone must have knelt. Some are above your head, as if made standing tall. On days when hope rose like the sun, you find one mark, deeper than the rest. It's sharp, angled, almost like a dagger carved it. But next to it, a soft, looping swirl, like the person who scratched it, regretted the pain, and left comfort beside it. These walls hold a life lived in silence, but recorded in strength. You realize the prisoner wasn't trying to escape. They were writing, without words, creating, without tools, living, without leaving. And now, you're reading a journal, written in scars, and in doing so, you carry that voice forward, not out loud, but in your breath, in your rest, in your sleep. You sit again, back against the wall. The marks behind you, you don't need to see them. They're already under your skin. No scratch is wasted. No mark forgotten. Here, even silence writes history. The cell is dim, but in the far wall, you see something. A shape. Tall. Straight. A door. You blink. You didn't notice it before. Not because it wasn't there, but because you never thought to look. You approach. It's made of old wood. Cracked. Dusty. But not broken. No bars. No lock. Just a handle. You reach out. Touch it. It moves. The door creaks. Open. Nothing stops it. And beyond it, a hallway. Dim. Long. Lined with torches. That flicker with no flame. You don't step through. You just stand there. And the prisoner's voice returns. Low, amused. I found it on the 3rd year. I never used it. Why? And the voice replies. Because I wasn't locked in. I was locked with something. Something I needed to understand first. You realize, the walls were never prison. They were pages. The silence was never punishment. It was language. The cell was not a cage. It was a classroom of stillness. You step halfway through the door. The air is no different. But you are. You've read the stars, felt the scratches, heard the voice, without a throat. You are not walking out. You are walking forward. Sometimes, freedom isn't the door that opens. It's the knowing that it always could, and the choice to wait until you are ready to walk. You don't walk through the door. Not yet. Instead, you turn back. Look once more at the cell, the walls, the scratches, the stars, the silence. They don't feel small anymore. They feel vast. You lie down, stone beneath you, light above, faint, but enough. And in that stillness, you finally understand. This was never just a prison. It was a telescope, pointed inward. Each scratch, a mirror. Each mark, a star reborn. Each silence, a hymn forgotten by the world, but remembered by the soul. You think of the prisoner, the one who named stars, who wrote in stone, who opened no door, but unlocked everything. And now, you realize, you were never visiting them. You were becoming them. A slow wind rises, not from outside, from inside your chest. It moves through the room, like a memory waking up. And above you, the stars carved in the ceiling. They shimmer. Soft light. No source. Just grace. You do not need to leave. Because here, within these four walls, you've already touched the sky. And the sky knows your name. Sleep now. You've arrived. That's how it begins. Not with a bang. Not with a cry. With breath. And between one breath and the next, you are suddenly elsewhere. You're standing on a bridge. You don't know how you got here. You're not afraid. The bridge is made of mist, but it doesn't move. It holds your weight. Gently, you look down. Below, not water, but moments. Childhood laughter. The smell of old books. A friend's hand. A door that never closed again. Everything that happened. In between breaths. The bridge stretches forward. There are no rails. No direction signs. Only a gentle curve. That disappears. Into light. You begin to walk. And each step echoes. Like a heartbeat. Soft. Patient. Kind. You pass through arches made of air. One whispers, "Here is where you forgave yourself." Another, "Here is where you forgot your own name." Just long enough to help someone else remember theirs. You are not being judged here. You are being held. Each breath you've ever taken remembers you. They meet here, on this bridge, to thank you for continuing when you didn't know how. You stop walking, not because you're lost, because you realize this is not a place to go. It's a place to rest. Between the inhale and the exhale of existence, stay here for a while. Let the bridge hold you. You've crossed so much. This pause is part of the journey too. You don't remember walking here, but the door is waiting. No lock, just air, just choice. You step through. Inside, silence, but not empty silence. Full, layered. The room is vast, circular, no windows, no shadows, and floating in the air. Breaths, not smoke, not fog. Breaths, tiny wisps of light, each pulsing. Gently, you step closer. One floats near you. When you touch it, you feel something. A laugh. Short. Surprised. From a kitchen, long ago. You touch another. A sob. Choke back. In a car at midnight. Each breath holds a memory. Not always yours, but always human. Some are bright. Some dim. One flickers. You reach out and feel your own voice. Whispering someone's name. Right before sleep took you. You'd forgotten. But the breath remembered. They swirl slowly. Thousands. Maybe millions. Breaths no one thought mattered. But here, they are honored. Catalogued. Kept. You kneel. Not because you are tired, but because this feels like a sacred place. This is the library of life. Before words. Before thought. Just inhale. Exhale. And the space in between. You breathe in. You breathe out. And as you do, one of your own old breaths returns to you, like a friend who never stopped waiting. Not fear, not sound, openness. You walk down a corridor, made of light. The walls shimmer like morning mist. No shadows, only silence, with shape. At the end, A window, but there is no frame, no glass, just an opening to everything. You step toward it. Beyond, a desert at dawn. Gold, soft, alive. You feel wind, but not on your skin. Inside your chest, it moves through your ribs, like a slow tide, like something being washed clean. Without water, you lean closer. There's no drop, no height, only space. And that space feels familiar. You've been here before, maybe in a dream, maybe before you were born. The light changes, not brighter, not darker, just deeper. It enters you, not through eyes, but through memory. The kind of memory that has no picture, only feeling, like the moment you forgave someone, but never told them, or the second before someone said goodbye. You sit near the window, not to look out, but to become what looks through. Your breath slows, thoughts fade, only the wind remains, only the sky, and the hush of a world that doesn't need to be touched, to be understood. There is no glass here, because nothing separates you from what you are becoming. You are not behind the window. You are the window, and the world is moving gently through you. You rise from the window, but the light rises with you. You're not leaving. You're carrying something, a breath, not just any breath, the one you forgot, the one you held long ago when you didn't know if things would ever be okay again. You never let it go. Until now, you walk slowly. There's no path, but your feet know where to go. The air is warmer. You pass a tree, growing in silence. No leaves, only light, where branches should be. You stop, place your hand on the trunk. It pulses, not with sap, but with all the breaths, ever released in peace. A voice rises, not around you, within you. It doesn't speak. It remembers. You feel a child's hand in yours, rain falling on a quiet roof, a goodbye that didn't hurt. In, a breath, your breath, the one you forgot. Return now, soft as a feather. You inhale. The air enters without sound, without shape, without expectation, just acceptance. You exhale, and that last breath, the one you once locked away, goes home. You're not lighter. You're not heavier. You're still, and in that stillness, everything lives. You sit, then lie back. The stars above aren't stars. They're breaths. Yours, theirs, ours. There is no end, only the moment. You remember to breathe again, and in that moment, you are already free. Sleep now. You are whole. Not waves, not crashing, just a steady sound, like someone breathing in their sleep. You follow it. The path isn't made of stone. It's made of sand, and the sand shifts under your feet, but never lets you fall. You reach a river. It is wide. It does not rush. It moves, like memory, slow, swirling, soft around the edges. The water is clear, but not transparent. When you look down, you don't see your reflection. You see moments. The time you laughed and pretended it didn't hurt. The time you stayed quiet because someone else needed the silence. The time you left before you were ready because someone else wasn't. These are not regrets. They are gifts. You forgot to unwrap. You kneel beside the water. Your hands enter, but don't feel wet. Instead, you feel lighter. The river does not speak, but it hums, a low vibration beneath the chest. It feels like the sound your heart makes when you don't need to be strong anymore. You look up. There's no bridge, no boat, just the river and the knowing. To cross, you must leave something behind. Not a possession, not a person. Your name. The river will forget your name, but not your truth. And maybe when it forgets that name, you will finally remember who you were before it was given to you. You step into the river, but your feet don't sink. A small boat waits, not built from wood, not forged with hands. It's shaped from stillness. stitched together by all the silences you've ever survived. You sit, and two oars appear. Long, light, smooth, made entirely from memory. You grip them. They don't feel like tools. They feel like old friends. You row, not hard, just once. The boat glides, like breath, like thought, like forgiveness. Narrator tone, slow and steady. Each stroke brings something back. A voice you forgot you loved. A smell that belonged to a place you never saw again. A promise you made in your sleep and kept without knowing. The river carries you, not forward, not backward, just through, and the water glows. Faint blue, like moonlight, remembering how to float. You stop rowing, not out of fatigue, but because the boat now moves on its own. You realize you're not steering this. You're being trusted to drift. Closing whisper. The oars remain in your hands. But now, you hold them not to move, but to remember how far you've come. By letting go, the river begins to curve. Wide, slow, gentle. No signs, no map. But you know, this bend matters. You look ahead, and what you see is not the other side. It's upward. The river is rising, not flooding, not crashing, just slowly climbing. Water lifts like a ribbon. The sky lowers like a whisper. And in the middle, your boat floats between water and stars. You're not afraid. You're curious. You wonder, where does the river end? If the sky forgets to say no, you look over the side. The water reflects nothing. No moon, no clouds, no you. Only space, only possibility. A bird flies past, but it has no wings. It leaves behind a trail of music you recognize from a memory you never lived. You smile, not because you understand, but because you no longer need to. You release the oars. They float away. You place your hands in your lap and close your eyes. The boat doesn't rock. It hovers, a breath held between sky and sea, between forgetting and becoming. The bend isn't a turn. It's a surrender to wonder, to not knowing, to everything you didn't know you were allowed to feel. The boat begins to descend, not fall, just lower, like a sigh. The stars fade, the water softens, and slowly the boat touches land. You open your eyes. There's no dock, no welcome, just a shore, white smooth, untouched. You step out. Your feet press against the sand, but leave no trace. The land accepts you, not as a traveler, not as a visitor, but as one who has returned. You walk slowly, not to go anywhere, just to feel what stillness feels like. Underneath the sky that now holds your breath. In the distance, a tree. Its trunk is wide. Its leaves shimmer, not green, but gold and blue in memory. You sit beneath it, not to think, not to pray, just to rest. The wind here is different. It doesn't carry sound. It carries silence. That has shape. A silence that has loved you since before your name existed. You lie back. The sand lifts you. The sky lowers. And in that perfect in-between, you finally understand. You never needed to be remembered by the world, because the river, the breath, the bridge, and this shore, they never forgot you. Sleep now. There are no footsteps to follow, because this path was only ever meant for you. It was not a storm, not a scream, not war. It was just silence. And then, one by one, the stars began to vanish. First, the bright one near the hunter's shoulder, then the tiny one that always winked from the corner of your eye. Gone, without a sound, without a flicker, just gone. People didn't notice at first. There were phones, screens, electric moons, But the night, the real night, it knew. It folded itself into a deeper dark. Some animals stopped calling. Oceans paused mid-tide. Even dreams, the vivid ones, began to quiet. And those who watched the sky felt something shift. Not fear, not dread, but a hush, older than memory. One child whispered, "Are the stars tired?" Another said, "Maybe they just want to sleep." But the sky didn't answer, because the sky was listening too. You lay in your bed, the window open, the night unusually soft, and for the first time, you realized you were looking into something that used to look back. Now, it simply waited. The stars did not fall. They did not flee. They did not burn. They simply stopped shining. And in their quiet, the world began to remember things it had long forgotten. He lived just past the edge of the last map, where roads ended and silence began. He was not blind. He just preferred not to look, because seeing was louder than listening. People said he spoke to shadows, but not in fear. In friendship, they'd see him at dusk, his lips moving, when no one else was near. And when the stars disappeared, he didn't panic. He smiled. "They're not gone," he said. "They've just turned inward." He walked the woods at night, without a lamp. He sang lullabies to the spaces between things. And slowly, the dark began to answer, not in words, but in shifts. A tree swaying when there was no wind. A path glowing faintly where no moon shone. A breath on the back of your neck that didn't come from behind you. He told people, the darkness isn't empty. It's just full of things that whisper. And one night, as the stars continued to fade, he left a message, carved in wood, hung on a silent tree. It read, "When light forgets its name, go where the dark still remembers yours." Then he was gone. No one knows where he went. But when the wind is just right, and the night is quiet enough, you can still hear him humming. And sometimes, the darkness hums back, not marked on clocks, not seen on calendars. It came when everyone stopped looking, stopped counting, stopped wanting, and in that space, time noticed. It didn't tick, didn't move, didn't measure. Time listened. It hovered like a held breath before a long-awaited answer. You didn't know the hour had begun until you realized you weren't waiting anymore. No footsteps, no thoughts, just presence. The sound of your own breath felt ancient, like you've been breathing this way for 1,000 years. And in that moment, nothing needed to change, because for once, everything was already enough. You looked at your hands. They weren't doing. They weren't reaching. They were just being. And they felt like they belonged to someone who had already forgiven the world. A faint breeze passed, but it didn't bring change. It brought peace. And for a single blink, the kind of blink that lasts a lifetime, time itself sat down beside you, not as ruler, not as keeper, as companion. In that hour, you did not grow older. You did not move forward. You simply remembered what stillness feels like when no one asked it to end. The stars were still gone, but the sky was no longer empty. It felt full, not with light, but with memory. You stepped outside. No flashlight, no expectation, just you, your breath, and the space above. That once held stories in fire. And that's when it happened. Not a burst, not a beam, just a glow. Faint, steady, like the warm sigh of someone who just woke from a beautiful dream. The glow shaped itself, not into stars, but into symbols. Not letters, but feeling. And you felt it say, "We never left. We were waiting for you to come home, to yourself." You close your eyes. The message didn't need sight. It entered your skin, like wind, like kindness, like forgiveness, for everything you thought you were, and weren't. You looked up one last time, and while there were no stars, you saw your reflection in the sky. Not your face, but your presence. Still, real, held. And in that moment, you finally understood. The stars hadn't gone out. They had gone inward, to rest, inside you. So when you sleep tonight, you're not alone under the sky. You are the sky, and your light is just beginning to return. Sleep now. You're remembered. And now, if your eyes are heavy and your thoughts are quiet, then the story has done its job. Thank you for drifting with me through shadows, stars, and ancient sand. If you'd like more stories like this one, just tap that subscribe button. It tells the old spirits that someone's still listening. Leave a comment, even a single word, to let me know you were here. And when you're ready for the next journey, you'll find it waiting right here. Until then, sleep deeply, dream safely, and let history hold your hand.